Hi guys, and welcome to Paint with Mark. A little picture called Fisherman's Paradise. So I've got a 16 by 20 inch canvas. It's been pre-primed. It's a Loxley canvas, so it's a good quality canvas. But we're going to apply some liquid white to start with, so we can blend our colours onto the canvas. So before we start, I'll show you the brushes that we're going to use today. We're going to use a 1 inch landscape brush, a rigger brush or liner brush, a 2 inch landscape brush, a fan brush, a number 3 fan brush, a small fan brush, and a palette knife. I'm also going to be using some kitchen roll, some lovely kitchen roll, and some odourless thinner I've got in a bucket, and with a little gauze on the top that I can scrape across to remove all the colour. So do that. I'm going to apply liquid white, which is a thin white paint, as our base coat in a second. And the colours that we're going to be using today are, now excuse my palette because I've been doing another picture, but the colours we're going to be using today are titanium white, cadmium yellow, bright red, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, alizarin crimson, got a little bit of Prussian blue, some black, we've got some more cad yellow, Indian yellow, yellow ochre, and I've made a bit of an orange up there, but I will do it as we go along, and titanium white. Okay, so first thing we need to do is apply liquid white on a canvas to make it nice and slippery. So I'm going to go into some liquid white. I like to put a piece in the middle and in the 4 corners to start with, and in betweens. Just get enough on there, and then I'm basically just going to do crisscross strokes, overlapping as I work across, and I'll go underneath and overlap what I've just done. I'm just trying to force this liquid white into the grain of the canvas, just so it makes it nice and slippery and wet. So once I've gone across the canvas, I'll go from left and right, again pushing quite a bit of pressure, left and right across the canvas, and then up and down. And then I'll have a look down the side of my canvas and to see if there's any dry spots. If it's not shiny, obviously you need to apply some more, so I'm just going to apply a bit more just to make sure that I have got enough on my canvas. It's very important that we've got enough on there, but again, we don't want too much either, so it's a fine line between too much and not enough. Now I will go up and down, you know, we don't want too much on here, but just want a nice even coat, something like that. Okay, now just to see if I've got enough on there, I'm going to use my fingers, and I'll press my fingers in there, and if you can see your fingerprint still through, you know that's about right. So I'm just going to wipe my fingers. Just make sure that you go back over your canvas where you've done your fingerprints, with your fingerprints. Otherwise you're going to get marks on your picture. So 2 inch brush. I'm not going to clean my brush at all at the moment. I'm just going to put the brush down, and I'm going to move on to a 1 inch brush. And I'm going to come up to, I'm going to use some cadmium yellow. So I'm just going to pull down some cad yellow one way, yellow. I'm just going to give it a little tap, just to load up the bristles on there, not too much. And I'm just going to come up if this is roughly halfway, I'm going to come up to this third in here and start about there. And all I'm going to do is just a little tiny circle like that as I start. Now down here I'm going to have some water, so I'm actually going to put in the water. I'm just going to brush across a bit here, just put a little bit of water in while we're there. Next colour we're going to go to is, I'm going to go without cleaning my brush, I'm going to go into some yellow ochre. So I put it one way, yellow way again, just a little tap, and I'm just going to do crisscross strokes round, all the way around, and I'm going to go around a couple of times because as it goes round it's going to blend a little bit. So it's going to blend in with the liquid white that we've got. I'm trying to not to create, you know, so many harsh lines here. Don't want harsh lines. So I'm also going to put some of that again down here, just a little bit down there. It just saves time later on. Next colour I'm going to come up to, I'm going to make a little bit of orange. So all we're going to do is just get some cadmium yellow and a little bit of red to make a nice little orange colour. I'm going to tap each side. Okay, I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to come out here with this orange, doing little crisscross strokes. I've got some more paint. A lovely bright orange haze down here, and again I'll go over this twice so it blends in, and again I'm just going to run a little bit of this colour just down the bottom there. Okay, next colour we're going to go into to make it really sparkle is bright red. So straight into this bright red, pull it down one side or the other, give it a little tap. Again, I haven't got too much paint, there's not a lot of paint on my brush. I'm going to come out to the side here. Oh, look at that, really powerful, that's bright. That's how I want it, nice and bright, blend it into the colour that's there slightly. Little crisscross strokes. That's lovely, it's beautiful. When it blends it's really going to stand out and really pow. That's what I want. Nice, beautiful. It's going to really going to stick out. Again, I'm going to get some of this red. I'm going to just put a little bit of this red here and there at the bottom, just so it's picking up some of the reflections of the colours that we got up in the sky. So, okay, without cleaning the brush again, I'm going to come into some dark sienna, which is the light brown. I'm going to go into there, tap one way, the other way, and I'm going to come up to the side here, and I'm going to take some of that into the colour as well, let it mix in with the colour. Put some more out, yeah, because I want to make sure I do actually get some colour on there. Sometimes if you've got too much liquid white, you can't get enough colour on there. All you've got to do is just go back into the colour and just go back over it, and that'll be fine. It's lovely brown down the side there. You might not get a lot of it, there might not be enough room. And then to finish off in the corner, I'm going to go into some Van Dyke brown, which is the dark brown. I'm going to pull it one way, the other way, and I'm just going to fill that corner in there, and just down the side a little bit at the top, maybe a little bit there. And again, at the side here, I'm going to pull some of this in just from the side. Pull some of this in here, just from the side, and at the bottom, just right across. I'm just flicking in from the side, just flicking from. So for a minute, we're going to come back to that in a little while anyway, so I haven't got to worry too much about the water. So now we've got that, we just want to blend a little bit, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe the 1-inch brush into my thinners, odourless thinner, wipe it on the gauze just to take the paint off, push it up the side of the bucket, give it a little tap just to get rid of most of that colour. And then what I like to do is I like to have an old towel, and I just then will squeeze the brush and twist it in an old towel to remove the excess paint. It works really well, and you can just throw them away afterwards or give them a wash and clean. They last a long time. Once I've done that, I will come into a little bit of tissue paper, a little toweling paper, a little bit of tissue paper, and I'll just then twist it around just to make sure I've got most of it off. Now I'm going to come up here, I'm going to work from the middle, I want to work outwards, doing little crisscross strokes just so it starts to blend. So I'm blending outwards, and some of this is going to be all mixing in, which is lovely, because we don't want to see where one colour starts and the other one ends. So some lovely colours coming around the outside. Just blending this in here lastly. Get rid of these harsh lines. Come right out. And it's blending in as I'm blending, it's blending in with the liquid white behind it. Get your hairs, just pull the hairs out. Tap it on the brush. I'm just coming down here. I'm going to work up. That's lovely. And that dark, just got the dark on the side, it's leading your eye into this centre part here is what we're looking for. Now, I'm not going to clean the brush, I'm just going to wipe it again on my towel to get rid of the excess. I'm not going to put it in the thinners. I'm just going to wipe it on a dry towel, and then I want to make this really stand out even more and brighter than it is. So I'm going to go into a little bit of titanium white. So I'm going to pull down a little bit of titanium white on my brush, and I'm going to start from the centre, and I'm going to go do crisscross strokes. But I'm just going to work out. Let it blend. Just a soft pastel-y colour. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to do sort of like half circular movements around this bit here. I want this to go around like this. So I sort of blend it around like this. I'm going to tap it on a bit of tissue paper. Lovely. Okay. Now I'm going to get a little bit brighter. So I'm going to go back into the white again. White. And I'm going to start from the middle again. And light crisscross strokes now. Just going to go around the outside. Very light crisscross strokes. Get rid of all these lines in there now. So it's nice and soft. I'll wipe it on a towel, a little bit of tissue paper, and very lightly, I'm going to just go across, hardly touching the canvas, very lightly, across the whole canvas, very lightly. Okay, Now, there's a little hair there, get the hair out. What we'll do now, we're going to come to the bottom. Now we've done our lovely sky and the beautiful colours we've got in here. We're going to come to the bottom, so we might as well do our wall. From the side, right across, just let us blend, all these colours blending nicely. And from the middle here, I'm just going to push out one way and the other way. It's just going to mix all these colours. So I'm pushing, probably pushing about sort of out of a 1 to 10 pressure, probably about 4. So I just want to keep doing this. Now the more you keep blending and pushing, the more it's going to blend in with the liquid white behind. I'm going, all I want is just to get this lovely sheen across the water. I'm going to put some more dark in there in a moment. So I'm just going to pull from the side and flick in, something like that. So you've got some lights, a shining reflection from here, and you've got some nice colour. I might put a little bit more red in there to make it really sort of stand out. So I'm going to get a little bit of the red, and I'm just going to flick some of this red across here. Just put that in there, and then I'm just going to blend it across. I think it'll look nice. I might even get some of the light brown and pull that from the side as well. So, put that light brown across as well. That looks nice. I've got a lovely hint of the red in there as well. Some of these browns, just to sort of like duplicate what's going on up there. Put a bit more dark brown in here, just so again your eye is drawn more to that centre. So I've gone over it to get rid of these harsh light lines. And I'm just going to get a bit more dark. I'm just going to flick a bit more dark down here, here and there. That'll do nicely. Okay. Lovely. Hair there, get the hair off. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So you always want to, once you've done that, step back from your picture and have a look, you know, what's going on and see, because you want to make sure that, you know, when you actually are going across the canvas, you're going across nice and straight and flat. I'm just pushing quite hard just to blend this all in together. Lovely. That's better. Okay. I think we've now done the sky and now we've done the water. We're going to do a bit of land and put some land in there. So I'm going to get a fan brush. I'm going to use a fan brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some dark sienna, which is the light brown, and put it over side of a palette here, and I'm going to get some titanium white, and I'm going to mix those together to have sort of like a lighty brown, and I'm just going to get just a touch of alizarin crimson. I think just a touch of alizarin crimson in there, just to keep the hint of the reddy pinks going through. Okay, so I've really loaded my fan brush up. So it's fully loaded up, and I'm just going to come up to the canvas. I'm going to come up to the canvas and think, right, where am I going to put my first bit of land? And I'm going to put it right in the middle with this sun. So It's really going to stand out. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch the canvas and let the bristles bend upwards. So right in the middle here, I'm just going to, I think about there, I'm going to touch and just very lightly sort of tap. So I've got a little line in the middle there, and then I'm just going to pull up slightly, very, very lightly. I'm going to pull up with the bristles, and they're going to create indication of little trees and bits and pieces in the distance. So it's a very, very soft, very small. We don't want too much going on because obviously this is distance a long way away. Now whatever you put in there in the water, because we're going to say this is water as well, is you want a reflection. Now what I'm going to do to help it, I'm going to use my fan brush and I'm just going to pull down the same sort of distance as the land above. So I'm just pulling down a little bit with this, and then I will use my 2-inch brush. I will touch and pull very lightly down, and then I'll brush across. Hardly any pressure. I'm hardly using any pressure at all when I brush across. Okay, so there's our first bit of land. Again, this is very distant, and hopefully you can see it on the video, but we don't want too much detail. We just want this to be in the distance. We don't want too much going on. So I'm going to put a bit of land down here, and as things come towards, you get slightly darker. So I'm just going to darken this mixture up, and all I'm going to do is get a little bit of Van Dyke brown and add some Van Dyke brown in with the mix. Make sure we still got white as well, just to darken it slightly. And again, I'm loading the brush up fully, and I'm probably going to come across from here down and across there. So again, you can mark your canvas if you find it easier to mark the canvas. So for me, I'm going to go just above that line. I think I'm going to start from there, and I'm going to come out. Yeah, I'm going to have it coming out in front of this there. And so all I'm going to do is, again, I'm just going to press up like this and just tap in. And underneath there, I'm going to create a little bit of mass. Like so. So I'm just bending the bristles upwards. So just bending upwards. Again, you don't have to have a lot of complete triangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shape it a little bit, so it shapes upwards. So slight variation. You don't want it all the same. But what I'm going to do at the top there is the same as what we did with the other one. I'm just going to load up the brush. I'm going to pull up very lightly here and there, some bits and pieces, the illusion that we've got some trees, bits and pieces. And as I come down underneath this, I'm going to do the same again. I'm just going to pull up here and there to create the illusion there's little trees and foliage going on in the distance there. Now again, as I said, you need to create the reflection in the water. So I've got this fan brush, I'm going to use the fan brush. So if this is 2 inches roughly, it's going to be roughly 2 inches there. Now what we'll say is that whenever there's a reflection, it should be slightly darker. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to add a bit more Van Dyke brown into this mix, just to make this slightly darker. Not a lot, just a little tone darker. And whatever height roughly there, you should roughly have the same height there. So I'm just going to pull this down. I'm going to leave a little gap, but I'm just going to pull down in the same sort of shape. So tiny here, and obviously we're coming down and put it straight down, okay, to create the reflection to look right. We're just going to put it straight down this is a little bit darker than that, just a touch. So hopefully we're sort of replicating what is there under the water. Now once we've done that, I'll use again my 2-inch brush, and again I'm just going to touch and go over what we've done, and then I'm going to go sideways, hardly touching the bristles on the canvas, hardly touching the canvas, hardly at all. Okay, now if you find it doesn't show up enough, okay, the brown light, where you've gone over it and it hasn't showed up enough, then what you can do is you could just get a little bit on the 2-inch brush, and you could just touch and pull down with that very carefully. Which will give you your shape again. And then just make sure you wipe the brush before you go sideways over the canvas. Okay, so just put it lightly across. Now, while we've done that, I think we'll put a little bit of water lines in, and we'll do that by getting a little bit of liquid white. I'm just going to get a little bit of that on my knife, and I'm just going to put it on the canvas, onto it, on my palette. I'm just going to put it down on top of the normal white. I'm going to get a little bit of red, just a touch of red, and add that in there, so it might make a sort of a very light pinky. And then I'm going to get my knife and just cut across, so I get a little bit of ridge of paint on my knife, and try and keep your lines straight. So I'm using the knife as if I'm cutting into canvas, and I'm just going to cut a line underneath the first one that we did. So I'm just cut a line across that one, and then I'm going to come down to that one, but I'm going to load the knife again. So I'm cutting across, little ridge of paint, and again this one I'm going to do, you can start from here or up there. So if I just start from there, I do a little line like that and stop. Don't go at an angle with the knife, always do lines. So if you do a line, you need to keep these level. So I'm going to come in here, stop. You can wiggle it, but you must make sure that when you wiggle this down that the line is straight. So I've just got a few lines in there as the indication that the water's splashing up against this, which I'm happy with. Yeah, that's nice. So that's that part done there. Then I'm going to have a lovely row, I think, of trees and bits and pieces on this side, so it will even out the composition. And I'm going to use the fan brush. I'm going to use the fan brush for that, and I'm going to come right across, right again down into about this area here. So I think it'll be nice, so down to about there. I'm going to take it right up here, down to about there. So again, I'm going to make this just a touch darker, so I'm going to go into add a little bit more Van Dyke brown. So we've got dark sienna, put a bit more dark sienna, a little bit of white in there, Van Dyke brown. So it's fully loaded, a bit more Van Dyke brown. I just want it slightly darker than the other side. And all I'm going to do this time is I'm going to hold the brush like that, and I'm just going to pull down using the tip of the fan brush, create little lines coming down, the illusion of lots of trees. And as obviously they're going to be longer from here, and as I come down they're going to be shorter. Now some people want to start, you know, if you want to start, you can start from here and work up by doing these little strokes. like so. That's about there. Okay, now I'm going to load my brush again. I'm going to go back into war paint. Nice chiselled edge, so make sure it's a nice chiselled edge. I'm just going to come back in and just make some of these a bit darker, like so. I'm just going to tap down just to fill them up a bit more. Okay, so we've done like a row of trees coming down here now, and what I'm going to do another row behind this row is exactly the same way, but I'm going to darken the mix again. I'm just going to put more Van Dyke brown in with this mix. More Van Dyke brown, just to tone this down more, to make it slightly darker again. And I'm going to come down, leave about an inch, and then start another row. Again, you won't see a lot of difference, but just a subtle, hopefully you can see a subtle difference between the ones at the back and the ones at the front. There's not going to be a lot of difference, but it is there. So more dark. Must make sure to keep your fan brush nice chiselled edge all the time. Nice and chiselled edge, which give you these lovely lines. And I'm tapping as well on a couple of these, which will create like a fuzzy type finish as well. And I'm going to take this right down here. I'm just going to tap into this area here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is use my knife. I'm going to get my knife into the same colour. I'm just going to run my knife into the colour, and I'm just going to, here and there, I'm just going to run a few lines up. Just a couple of these lines in between. I just want to create illusion of more bits and pieces that is really there. So by doing that with a knife, it creates an illusion of more foliage. So we've got this lovely little slope coming in here. Again, everything is drawing your eye into this part here, which is the brightest area. And for those of you that are into selling your paintings, this picture sells really well. It really does brighten up a room because it's so bright. Now, what I want to do with this part is I'm going to create a little bit of mist in this area here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the pinky white would be fine, and a little bit of the cadmium yellow, just on the corner of the brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tap very hard on this area here and there, at the base. I'm going to come up and down to create mist. So by tapping down, you create this misty finish. So you can see there, I've created this beautiful misty finish now, which is good because that's the sort of thing I'm looking for. Now I'm coming back into our fan brush, and this time I'm going to add a little bit of thinner. So dip it into my thinner, come back to my same colour, which is the browns that we've got. Just force all this paint off of there, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple more trees, but I'm also going to add a touch of black and a little bit of alizarin crimson. So I've got a little bit of alizarin crimson. So again, I want to keep the sort of ready theme through what we're doing. But I'm going to fully load up my fan brush. I'm little bit of black, the browns in here. So again, it's going to create a different tone for these trees. So really press down, really load up the brush, fully load it up, and I'm going to come up to here and I'm going to create some evergreen trees coming along here, different sizes. Okay, so I might have a bigger one from here, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to touch and create a line to start with. That's what I usually do. So we've got a nice little line there, and I may do another line there just to give me a guide. And again, I'm not going to do all these the same height, I'm going to do them all different heights, but you'll get the idea just by putting a line in. You'll see where you're going to go. Now, if you've ever done any evergreen trees, I'm just using the corner of the fan brush and I'm just tapping like the letter Z or Z. So I'm going one way to the other way, one way to the other way. And as I'm doing it, as I'm tapping down, I'm bringing this part out so it becomes wider and the actual branches become wider. So I'm going to load my brush again, and I'm going to come up to here and I'm just going to touch very lightly, giving the indication some lovely evergreen tree. I'll come up to another one in here. Another one there. Again, these are all going to be different heights and different sizes. We don't want to create them all the same height and the same size. Load up my fan brush again. Do one there. So some I'm doing a little bit bigger than the others. So we don't want them all the same size. Just little indications of things going on. And I'm going to do one there. And I might have this one so it goes over the front of these little ones. So I'm going to tap that over those ones, and I'm going to put something little in there as well. Just again, an indication of something just so you can see. Now again, when you've done this, you can use the knife as well, just to run and put some points on these so they make them stand out more. And also, I'm going to get the same colour. I'm just going to run the knife through to get a little band on the knife, just to give the indication. If you just touch here and there, these give the indication of the lines in the middle of the trees. And while I've got the paint on there, I'm just going to do a few lines, putting down in between these trees again, just so it looks like there's a few more bits and pieces. Now I am going to highlight these a little bit, so I'm going to squeeze the excess paint off the fan brush with a bit of kitchen paper, and I am going to clean it because obviously you are going to go to a lighter colour. So I'm going to clean it in my thinners and then wipe it in my towel. So wiped on my towel, and what we're going to do, we're just going to get a little bit of, don't want it too bright, so I'm going to get a little bit of cad yellow, and I'm going to put a little bit of that in with our mix that we've been using. So a little bit of cad yellow and mix that in with it, so it's a very dull greeny, just a light hint You don't want to go too much with it. So I like colour, and I just here and there I'm just going to highlight some of these, and I'm going to go over a couple of these bits and pieces, and it's just going to put a little hint. You may not be able to see that on the video, but hopefully what I do, I just make it a little bit lighter just for your benefit, but I wouldn't normally do it perhaps as light as this because these are distant evergreens, and we don't want too much colour on these. So that'll do nicely. Okay. So the next part I'm going to do, I'm going to put some land coming across here, and I'm going to use the fan brush again. Well, I've got the fan brush. I'm just going to wipe the fan brush in the actual towel, and I'm just going to use dark mix that we've got. So we've got this mix. I'm going to add some more Van Dyke brown to it. So we've got the dark sienna, Van Dyke brown, and I'm not going to add any more light to it now. I'm just going to load the brush my way the other way, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to press up. I'm just going to tap upwards just to fill in some mass. So I'm just going to fill in a little bit of mass down here. Literally just letting it bend and press up underneath our evergreens. So it's just bending, pressing up, and I will highlight that slightly. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into this cad yellow and do exactly the same. I'm just going to let it bounce and press up, so I'm just letting bounce and press up here and there, just to create the illusion. There's a little bit of foliage and a little bit of a colour on the land, but again, I don't want this overpowering. I want to keep these colours, these lovely colours on here. So I think that's enough land there, just a little bit of land there. And what I'm going to do, while I've got that, I'm just going to put a little water line in around this bit of land, and we've already got our sort of pinky white colour. So I just want to put a little bit in first before I'm going to put a few cabins in the water, but before I do that, I'm just going to run just a line coming along here, so it just saves it, you know, before I put my cabins in. And I'm just going to touch this up again with the colour, just a bit there. That's it. Because I just want a soft sort of line going in there. Most of it's going to be gone anyway in a minute when I put the cabins and things in, but I just want it there. Okay, I'm happy with that. So what I intend to do is put a couple of cabins in there, and I'll have a cabin that's actually sitting in the water, and another one there, and another one back here. So the first one I'm going to do a small one, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the small part of the knife, this little tiny part of the knife, and I'm just going to use the same colour, this brown mix. I'm just going to pull a little bit towards you on the knife, just to load the knife up, just to get some colour on there. And I'm just going to do a basic triangular shape on the land. So I'm just going to pull this down at a triangular shape this way, like that. So imagine that's the roof, and then it comes down, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a liner brush to do the front. So I'm just going to pull down and then down, and that's basically all I'm going to do. It's just an indication there's something there, but you can't really tell why. And then I'm going to get my liner brush, dip it into some thinner, in with the same colour, and I'm just going to fill in the front part. So obviously the triangle will go the other way, like that, and it'll be across and then down. I'm just going to fill that part in, just so you get an idea. So you can straighten it out as much as you want with this, but again, just not too much detail with this one. You don't need much detail. So now I'm going to come and do a couple more, and I use the full size of the actual knife. Again, going into the browns, I'm just going to get some dark browns together, swash it down, cut across, and get a roll on my knife. And then again, I'm going to think about what I'm doing is I just want to pull a cabin out. I'm going to leave a little gap for that one, and I'm just going to pull down, pull this out and down like so, out and down. Okay, and I'm going to do the same as I did the other one. I'm going to use the liner brush to sort out the cabin, just to straighten it out a little bit. It's just like makes life easier. So I'm just add a little bit of thinner, and I'm going to use this just to put the roof, straighten the roof out, and then it comes down into the water here, or the water's edge, and then this side will come down this way, and then that will come down like so. And I'm just doing lines going downwards just as an indication. That's the front, and just to define that a bit more, I'm going to dip it into a bit of black, just a bit of black, and then I'll run the black just at the top of the roof part here, a bit down this way, and maybe a little bit on the top, just here and there, just so you can see an idea what's going on. And I may put a little indication of a door in this one. Okay, put a little dot on, that was a door for that one. So that's my second sort of little cabin, fisherman's cabin. And as I come through, I'm going to do another one. I'm going to pull that right in front of that one, using the same colour. Actually, I might just add a little bit of black into it, darken it, or a little bit more Van Dyke brown, a little bit of alizarin crimson as well. And I'm just going to pull another one just right in front of this one. So I'm going to take a little bit of it out. So I'm going to come down here, just a little bit bigger, and this one is just actually sitting in the water as edge. And again, I'm going to use, you could use the small part of the knife to do this part if you wish. Pull that down and then just pull this down this way. Again, I'm going to use again the liner brush, a little bit thinner, into the same colour mix, and just do a few lines down, coming down like this, just to make it stand out a bit more. And this one, it's going to be sitting on some pegs or posts in the water, but we're going to do reflections first. So I just want to put this in. I'm just going to get a touch of black for that back line so it stands out a bit more. just this back bit here. So take that like the eaves. Not too worried about that. And again, I'm going to put a door, just a square door there, and maybe little squares for windows. And there, again, you can get some light colour, light mix, a little bit of the brown and white, just a little bit of brown and white, and on the fan brush, on your liner brush, and just run it down here and there, just an indication of catching the light. Again, you can spend lots of time putting lots of detail on this, but also I'm limited for this video. So I'm now going to put in another one across here. I'm going to face it a different way. I'm actually going to face it this way, going backwards. So I'm going to darken this one down. I'm using the same mix, but I'm just going to add some black with that as well. So keep some red in there. So that's a lovely sort of reddy, bright black and brown. I'm going to clean my knife and then cut into my knife. Nice ridge of paint. And this one I'm going to have, I'm going to have a triangle going this way, and this is going to be sitting in the water. So I'm going to put my triangle there as a front and there. So that gives me my sort of basic shape, and it's going to be sitting back that way. So it'll be back there, running down off the screen there, and then it'll be coming down here and here, like so. I'm just going to wipe my knife where it's picked up the paint. Again, you know, if there's a bit of paint, it doesn't matter, you can get the knife and just scratch down where you want this to be, to give you an idea first, and then you can come back with the paint. So it gives you an idea where that's going to be. So now I've scraped out my area where it's going to be. I can come back in now with my paint, roll on there, and just go over very lightly the spot, come down here, fill that in down here, and on this one I'm going to have a little bit where they stand underwater here. So it's going to come along, it's going to come slightly out at an angle like so, and down there. So they're going to actually stand out on this part, just a little bit of wood or decking or something at the front. So I just made an indication like that, and I'm just going to pull the material out at an angle across like that. So it's going to be pulled out like that. And again, now I'm going to get my liner brush and go into the materials and tidy it up. A bit of tissue paper, it's all gone with a brush. So I'm just going to wipe my hand. Okay. So I'm now going to go into my liner brush of the same colour, the dark, and I'm just going to define where I need to, this cabin. So I'm just doing lines down here. This is the back, this is the part of the roof. Comes down here, so I'm just going to do lines this way, and you've got the line down there. So I'm going to get a little bit of white and I'm just going to run this down the front, so as if it's catching a little bit of light, just so you can see what we're looking at. That's the roof here, that's the ridge, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the brush on that in a second, but I'm going to get some dark, and in here I'm going to do a door with black. So I'm going to do a door with black and a window and a window. I'm just going to get my knife. Actually I'm going to use the fan brush just to run this over the roof. There. And I'm just going to add a little bit more white with the fan brush, just to make that edge stand out and this edge stand out. Okay, that's fine. Now we want to make sure we want this little part here, so I'm just going to do a little line along the bottom there and a line at the front as an indication this is like a little stepped out piece. Now once we've got our cabins in, we're going to need to do reflections, and if you find that the 2-inch brush is too much, again, if you get your fan brush, clean fan brush, and use it and hold it here and pull down lightly, again, you know, you just pull down the same distance above, and again you can always go into a bit of colour, a bit of the light colour, and use that and pull that down in with the water. Give you an idea. And here obviously this is going to come down, so I'm going to put a darker mix. I'm going to go into this darker mix and I'm just going to pull this down, and I'm going to shape it the way it would be shaped, like this. Obviously these lines would be in the middle longer, because that would be if that was the shape of the roof, like so. Okay, so we're putting this straight down, and then if you wipe the fan brush, again, I'm not going to go in thinner, so I'm just going to wipe it with a bit of a towel, and then we go very lightly across, very lightly across, the indication of the reflection, the water. And we're going to put a couple of pegs now, or stilts as I call it, in the water. So I'm just going to get the liner brush and we're going to go into our dark mix. I want it a bit inky consistency, and all we're going to do is just do a couple of little lines. I want to be okay there, but this one is definitely in the water, so you're just going to get a line coming down here, and this will be another line coming there, and you may have a line there. I'm just going to fill that part in, so you may have a little line there, so these lines there. Okay, and again you're going to want to use your fan brush just to pull down and then lightly go across. And the same with this one. We're going to do some bigger ones for this one. We're going to go into the dark mix and we're going to do a couple of a bigger posts come down here and a big post come down there to hold this one on. and again it's going to have reflection, so I can do a little bit more down there if that's the reflection. And then I'm going to use my fan brush and I'm going to pull down very lightly and across, like so. This one here I forgot. Now I'm going to use my knife again. Just going to clean my knife, get a bit mucky. I'm just going to put in a few little water lines. I'm going to define that as well. Let me just define that with a bit of black. So I'm just going to get a bit of black here, just along this line here, just to define this path there. Yep, it's better. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get again some of this, a little bit of liquid white, put it in with the pinky white we had before. I'm just going to cut across to get a small amount of paint, a very small amount of paint, and I'm just going to put in just indications of a little bit of water around these cabins across here. And then while I've got this knife going, I may just put a few little lines here and there. Okay, a little bit of paint, not too much paint, very lightly, just you can just run in a few little lines. And if you think they're too heavy, if you go cut over them again, they will blend back in to the canvas. So I've got a few little lines here and there. So I've just got a few lines running along, so just an indication there's a movement going on. I'm just going to get a little bit of this light mix. I'm just going to highlight, I'm just going to put a little line on this part here and a line around the side of the door and the windows, just so they stand out a little bit more. So I'll just put a line on one side down here and along the top, and again just a bit around one side of the window. And again, this could, here and there you may have a little touch of light in places on these cabins. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of light here and there. Just to make them stand a little bit. Okay, I'm happy with that. Keep that in there. Okay. Here, I want to create a little bit of land again with a brush. Now we need, as you know, we need dark to show light. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our dark colours. So we're going to have the, obviously the Van Dyke brown, the dark sienna. I'm going to put that in the pile. We're going to get some black and some alizarin crimson. So all those lovely colours. Really load the brush up, and I'm bending the bristles and I'm pulling it towards me. And so you'll get a round part of the brush, and where the round part of the brush is, I will push it up. I want to have it coming down across here about this high, starting from about this high, and I'm just going to push up to create these lovely foliagey shapes, lacy type shapes. So I'm just pressing down here, and all I want to do at the bottom here is just fill in with the colour. Now I'm sort of randomising it, I'm not keeping it all nice and even. I want to have this one, say, coming out here, this one might come out a bit higher, and down the base here I'm just filling in just sort of dark colour really. Keep loading the brush. Nice dark. Just want this filled in. It's nice. And I just want this to create a nice sort of bushy type shape coming off the canvas and running downwards. Now once I've done that, we're going to highlight this, and again I'm not even going to clean the brush. I'm just going to go into some light brown and cadmium yellow, so some of the dark sienna and cad yellow, may even go into a little bit of yellow ochre as well. I want this sort of dark browny finish. So I'm bending the bristles towards me, and I may even add in a little bit of liquid white, because as you know, a thin paint sticks to a thick paint, so I've added some liquid white in with this just to make sure, and I'm pulling it all towards me so it's got a lovely rounded edge, so that will help me create my nice laced finish. And I'm just going to literally just touch the canvas, let this bend down, don't kill all the darks, and this creates this beautiful lacy shape. Now think about shape and form. Okay, I'm not just pressing it at random, I'm sort of creating rows of colour. Just load that a bit more, put a bit of a alizarin crimson in there as well, and that'll make it really pop. So touch up there, create this lovely lacy finish. I'm going to put some of this lovely colour in there, and I may do a little bit of that down there. Again, not overpowering the picture too much, because I'm trying to keep all these lovely colours in. I may put a little bit, add a little bit of a Indian yellow or yellow ochre in with this mix that I'm using. So I'm mixing all the colours together so they've got this nice reds and that included. So here I may go lovely yellowy ochre, and I'm just pressing up the bristles. I put one there and here. Lots of colour. Okay, so I've got some nice colours going on that complement the colours up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my knife, and I'm going to use the point of the knife, and I'm just going to scratch down very lightly into the dark areas, just into the dark areas, and this creates the illusion of more foliage and twigs going on like that. liner brush into some thinner, and I'm going to go into that same colour, then mixed up, which is the browns, the yellow ochres, and so on. Some darks. I'm going to twist it around. I want it like ink consistency, so you may have to put 4 or 5 drops of ink, or thinners, sorry, to make this inky consistency. And I'm just going to flick out here and there some indications of some bits and pieces here and there. Do it one way, and then I may do a few the other way. In here. Okay. Now I think it would look nice with some broken fencing, because there'll be some fencing in here, because this is bushes looking down onto the sea, and there's some broken fencing going on down here. I'm just going to get the cloth. I'm just going to wipe my knife, because we've got paint all on my fan knife. My knife. Okay, so we're going to come up to the darks. We're going to get the dark browns and this black, and I'm just going to cut across to get a roll on my knife, and cut to here, and I think we'll have one this way. We're just going to touch the canvas and pull on that way, and I think we'll have one leaning straight there, and this one we're going to have slightly bent over here, and this one we're going to have fallen down off the side. I'm going to load my knife again with the same colour, and I think we'll put a nice big one here. So we'll have that just a bit wider as well. And I'm just touching it and pulling on the canvas like so. And where it all sticking out, actually where it's coming up top like that out the canvas. And well, yeah, let's pull this one down there. Now I'm just going to get a little bit of highlight colour, because we're just going to highlight the side by using this light brown mix, a bit of white and a light brown mix. I'm just going to cut through, and I'm just going to literally just touch it on one side very lightly, just touch that side. There, and using a liner brush, I use that same colour, and I'm just going to add a little bit of white just on the very top, as if it's catching the light. So back into my thinners, and then back into some black. Again, you want to make sure this is really thinned out this time, like ink consistency. Again, 4 or 5 drops, spin it around, get a nice fine sharp point, and we're going to put the little wire or line in with these. So I'm just going to drop this from here, come down to that one, this one may drop down to this one, that one may drop down to that one. I'm going to leave a gap there, a nice sort of gap, this one going to there, that might go into there, and that will go down to there. And all I've done is just use a little bit of thinners to do these little lines, so it just looks like a bit of wire. It's done that, so I just left the gap in there so they could actually probably climb down to the water. So now, if some of these look like they're floating, if you just get your liner brush, you can just literally touch around the bottoms of these to blend these in. And they will be better. You can always get your brush and just very lightly touch where it needs to be. So all that's left now is for me to sign it. Mark Terrell. From Paint with Mark, and I hope you've enjoyed painting along with me today, and I'll try and get more of these tutorials for you. In the meantime, I'd love you to like, subscribe and share my videos online. Thank you very much for watching. It's Mark Terrell from Paint with Mark.